subject. Eddie Bravo's in the studio for the next hour, then Dr. Edward Group, then Roger Stone, and so many others. We have a George Neumeier, if I'm pronouncing that right, from the American Spectator. A bunch of other guests coming on that Stone's got set up. Eddie Bravo is the 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, or JJ.com, and he's on Instagram at Eddie Bravo 10. He's one of the top jiu-jitsu experts in the world, known for being able to beat guys that are top people and a lot bigger than him. Just had back surgery, though, so I'm not as scared of him as I normally am. But I've just known this guy for a good decade or so, hanging out with Joe at UFC events. So funny. So fun to hang out behind the scenes with. And I kept saying fly here, and all of a sudden he's here, but he's got to go right away. I wanted to do like some late night podcast with him, but it's okay. We'll definitely do it again. But you were on that big record-setting podcast with myself and Joe, where she co-hosted a lot. Record downloads, record views, and they tried to censor it. They tried to block it. Joe confirmed that. In fact, some things like Google Play never even listed it. They wouldn't put it on iTunes for a day and a half. That never happened to him. And they won't put it as the top iTunes ever podcast, even though it is. Joe has the internal control board. He can see it's the biggest podcast ever. He's already in the top 3. He has the biggest podcast he ever did, times double or more, and they won't show it on iTunes as #1. What do you think of that, Eddie?
It's pretty crazy. And first of all, I want to apologize.
Good to have you here.
I want to apologize for being an idiot and an annoying guest. I should have just kept my mouth shut. But
I want to apologize. I'm the one that usually interrupts people. Talking about with Joe?
Yes.
I'm glad you were there.
People complained about that, and rightfully so. I was very annoying. But the reason I got
it's actually kind of funny. Tell me about the replicas of
the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
No, but the main thing is I've taken a lot of heat over the years, a lot of heat for chemtrails, a lot of heat for that. And to finally get you in front of Joe Rogan's audience, who most of Joe Rogan's audience, they think you're crazy, and they think what the mainstream media, how they portray.
But they actually, 99% actually said, now I like Alex Jones.
No, because of the podcast, for sure.
They were blown away. They actually heard me.
I didn't get annoying until about an hour into the show. I just sat there.
Well, by the way, Marcos Morales and so many others watch the podcast. They also watch your podcast. They all love you. So let's be clear. You're loved on the Joe Rogan podcast. It was just that night some folks got pissed at you.
Yeah, well, it was because I wanted to clear up the whole chemtrail thing, because
let's do that. No one calls it chemtrails in the real world. I call it chemtrails. There is manipulation of the weather. It's mainstream news, and the media always picks it up and says, I'm crazy. It's on the Weather Channel that there are secret programs. It's just so secret we don't know the details. Then other people think every condensation trail is is an actual chemtrail when they're crystal trails. But NASA admits the Earth's 30% darker. You can Google chemtrails from space. It shows the NASA photos. It's changing our atmosphere, and they are adding chemicals to the jet fuel at the industrial level. Go ahead. And I hope Trump, in fact, next time I talk to him, I keep forgetting when I talk to him, I'm going to ask him to look into geospatial manipulation of the weather.
Well, they're calling it stratospheric aerosol injection.
Yes.
John O'Brennan wasn't at the CFR talking about it, how it's captured as interest, and it costs $10 billion a year.
Geoengineering. Tell us about tell us about the real atmosphere manipulation that's going on.
Well, based on what John O'Brennan said at the CFR, you can watch this on YouTube. Just like the chemtrail people have been saying for years, that eventually they're going to have to admit it, and they're going to say that.
And by the way, search engine, the CFR calls for geoengineering. It'll be on their own website.
Yeah, you even said this for years. Eventually, they're going to come out and say that, yes, they are spraying the atmosphere with metallic particles, but it's to save us, to save for global warming, to save the planet. And that's exactly what John O'Brennan did. He got in front of the CFR and he said, we're going to start spraying the atmosphere with stratospheric aerosol injections, and it's going to cost $10 billion a year, and there's going to be some countries that are not going to be into it because...
And guess who's behind it? Word for word, you're saying what they put out. Bill Gates called for this. Bill Gates is getting government money to then run the program.
Yeah.
They're running programs to control hurricanes. It's all in like Nature and Science magazine, but then they go on the news and say, Alex says Obama sent tornadoes to Oklahoma. No, I didn't. So again, they misrepresent what's really going on.
Now, explain the difference between legit contrails and the stuff that is the stratospheric aerosol injections. What's the difference? Because people say, take a basic science class.
Well, there it is, London Guardian. Bill Gates backs climate scientists lobbying for large-scale geoengineering. So they're already doing it. $5 billion a year, Department of Energy, that they admit.
Yeah.
There was a Nobel Prize that two guys won in 1992 with the plan. By 94, it was launched.
Yeah.
And now it's over most of the world. It's a giant program. A lot of people, and I'm not kidding, since Trump got in, notice there's less of the chemtrails. And that's why Trump said we have advanced technology. We can pretty much cure stuff now. I want to roll this out to you. That's why the elites are really mad, because the word is, even though I haven't brought this up to Trump, I need to, is that Trump's killing all these programs. That's why they're so pissed. That's why all the agencies are just ignoring him.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, explain to the people out there who are still non-believers, what is the difference between legit contrails and the ones that last all day and completely cover the sky?
Okay, turns out people think of jet fuel as really volatile. It's not. Gasoline's like 3 times more volatile, more explosive, burns hotter, you name it. Jet fuel actually is like kerosene. And so kerosene, I don't recommend this. You can put it on your hand, light it, and it doesn't burn you for a while. That's what they kind of use like in a lot of the Hollywood sets and things. So you can add a lot of things to kerosene. And they add barium salts, aluminum dioxide, and also some radioactive isotopes. There's only 3 big major makers of jet fuel in the United States. There's some sub ones as well. And they just, under a national security directive that's secret, but the patents are there, the directive is known, but the details are classified, they add this to the mix in a government program. They're paid to do it. And then they use the jet engines that the patents, there's like over 20 patents on this. You can Google it. And you get the patent office to use jet engines to then aerosolize for cloud seeding. And they claim that they're shielding the Earth from the sun because we've lost our atmosphere. But then you actually look what the scientists are doing. It's actually, hurting the planet, actually keeping heat in, the opposite. So it's like they're trying to create global warming, actually, because, again, the ultraviolet radiation goes through the clouds. The other good sun gets blocked and bounces back out. Those wavelengths get blocked, but the ultraviolet, it's like your dad tells you, on a cloudy day, you can still get burned because the ultraviolet comes through. That comes through, doesn't bounce back out. Okay, it just heats the Earth up. So they're trying to heat the Earth up in a big, giant secret experiment. And they admit they're doing it, but, it just, they won't give us the details. And then we talk about it. It's like, oh, Alex, nobody on your iPhone's watching you. And Google doesn't listen over the phone. I'm like, I have all their press releases 10 years ago right here. I mean, of course, now they all admit it yesterday but I had you here to interview you, Eddie. See, Eddie got in trouble talking over me. So now I have him as a guest. He won't talk. Eddie can talk more than anybody you know. I went to dinner with him a few weeks ago. He talked for 2 hours straight. It was awesome.
Well, on the Joe Rogan podcast, you wanted to talk more about Trump. I wanted to talk about chemtrails. So I kind of, and then plus you brought out the whiskey. I told Joe, no more drinking on the podcast. I get crazy. The Indian comes out. And then you brought out the bottle of whiskey. We started taking shots. And I wanted to talk chemtrails. And you wanted to talk Trump. And I got kind of angry.
You did a great job. Let's talk about Tim Planet.
I apologize for that.
Let's talk about Tim. Stop it. Stop apologizing. I'm the one who's apologizing. I'm the interrupter.
Okay.
Tell me to shut up. No, but seriously, let's just tell that I've seen you with the hottest chicks I've ever seen anybody with. How do you get all the hot chicks?
Hey, I'm a married man.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was before.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Tell me about the lucky lady.
I love my wife. I love my son. I love my family. And
when did you get married?
I got married 4 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I remember 10 years ago and stuff in Vegas.
Hey, that was a long time ago, Alex.
I was good, though. Man, Joe can just go and go.
Joe can talk forever, yes. That's why he has a very successful podcast.
Yeah, he's a piece of work. Joe's awesome, isn't he?
He's an incredible man, yes.
Of course, you've known Joe longer than me, but I remember Joe. Did you know Joe like in 1998, 99?
That's when I met him. So we probably...
Well, I mean, he wasn't as big as he is now, but it wasn't a small guy syndrome. Like a big guy mess with him or got in his face. He would routinely choke guys out. Like I've seen him do it repeatedly. Like big guys, they would mess with him. I mean, but over the years he mellowed out. When did that happen?
When he started smoking weed, probably.
I guess he didn't really get into weed till when, yeah.
2001, 2000.
That's a funny story. He used to be totally, and then...
Yeah, it took me 6 months to talk him into it, but because I knew if I could get.
But you knew the old Joe, right? You didn't want to mess with him.
Yeah. Well, I was the crazy weed activist at jiu-jitsu. I was a purple belt trying to get everyone to understand.
No, let's just say it. You've defeated the the Gracies, all the top people.
I defeated Hoyler Gracie in 2003, and that's the only Gracie I've ever.
But a lot of people say I don't follow. I mean, I follow UFC some. I like it, but I'm not I don't know any of that. I mean, I just know that everybody says you're the best.
I am not the best.
Well, no, just long term, like with the technique and stuff.
Jean-Jacques Machado is the best. That's my master. So I'm not the best. I'm not even close to the best.
But you did just get a back surgery too, didn't you?
Yes. Got a disc replacement in my back, and I'm still recovering. Doing yoga now, trying to get back to 100%. Hopefully, I'll get there. But
was it the jiu-jitsu that finally got your back?
The doctor said no. I went to the best. Apparently, I got the best doctor in the country. I didn't even know. Someone recommended him to me, and he said that unless you have direct, blunt force trauma into your back, that everyone's back some people's discs go out, some people don't.
Sure.
And he says it has nothing to do with what sport you're doing or whatever. But said there's 20-year-old. He was showing me MRIs of different people and said, look, this is a 23-year-old girl, never did anything in her life, and her back's screwed. She needs disc replacement surgery.
Well, I got pile drived once. So I got 2 discs that just are waiting to go out here and 2 down here. I'm not looking forward to that. All being puffed out, way out.
You're going to get surgery?
I don't know. It's just when they hurt, it's like, it's excruciating to even get up. Well, I'm sure you went through that too. So.
Yeah, my back was, I tried everything for it, and then I finally got an MRI, and they said, you don't have a disc in your L1S5, and or L5S1. I get those confused, but I was bone to bone for years and years, and that's where all the pain came from. So I finally went in there, got surgery, and hopefully it fixes it.
But you're such a cool cat and funny and nice. A lot of guys that are tough guys, I mean, a lot of them are cool. And I guess you and Joe have helped kind of change things. But I remember just some of the people I've been around from, UFC, they really are kind of aggressive jerks. But it seems like that's getting phased out. There's still some of that?
There's douchebags in every genre and every community. Jiu-jitsu has them too. So there's douchebags in the conspiracy theory movement,
Absolutely. I know Dana White's a super nice guy, but for all the power he's got, he's really down to earth.
Yeah, very nice guy. Unless you get on his bad side, then he comes.
That's what Joe
at you with the wrath. No, but I love Dana. What he's done for the sport and MMA. I mean, without him, the UFC wouldn't be where it's at right now.
Absolutely. I remember Joe back when he was going, yeah, this UFC is going to start to be bigger than the NFL. Man, it's so awesome. And Dana White, and I was just like, and then all of a sudden it just explodes.
Yeah.
Joe's been there since the very start, pretty much.
Yep. He was doing backstage interviews in '97 back in...
You say Joe. I mean, I've seen the workouts. Works really hard. You say Joe's really good at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, he's one of my black belts. Yeah, he hasn't trained in a couple of years because he had a back injury himself. Didn't get surgery, but his back is kind of tweaked, and he might not be able to get back to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
He's talked about it, though. He's talked about coming back, but we'll see.
But he was a champion in Taekwondo, too.
Yes. He's one of the hardest kickers pound for pound that I've ever seen, and I've known.
Did you ever see that video where he was kicking till the blood was pouring out of his shins? I was like, it was crazy.
He was kicking till the blood was pouring.
I saw it once. I tried to find it again, but yeah, he was like kicking with some big UFC guy to see who could go the longest, like kicking a wall, kicking a pillar. And he did it till it was just like blood was, every time his heart beat, blood was just running out of the shin.
I'm not sure I've seen
I'm telling you, call Joe, absolutely.
Well, there's a video of him showing GSP, one of the greatest fighters of all time, showing him how to throw a turning sidekick, and it's pretty crazy. I mean, you got Joe Rogan, the Fear Factor guy, showing GSP, arguably the best pound per pound fighter of all time, and he's showing him how to throw a turning sidekick.
Let's Google that. I've seen that video. It's amazing. Yeah. What's the name?
You could just GSP, Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan shows how to do what kind of kick?
A turning sidekick. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, here it is. Let's go ahead and turn up the audio. This is Joe Rogan.
No, this is not the one. This is him showing how to throw a turning sidekick, but you got to find the one that says GSP as well. This is, that was the...
Doesn't Joe have the classic bulldog features? Hey, let's get into serious stuff, though. What do you make of them coming out and saying, okay, we're listening to everybody, we're watching Congress, your TV's watching you, everything's true? I mean, we already knew because the industry had to admit it or they could get sued. But that's what's crazy. This was I'd love to say, oh, I knew it. I had sources. It was in the press releases in 2004. Here's 2006. Government. Industry to use computer microphones to spawn 150 million Americans. So the big news I want to tell people is this. We're going to skip this break so we have more time. If you think this is big and shocking, folks, this is the thing they attack me on and say I'm crazy. You know, your TV's watching you. That's the classic deal. They're now freaking out all over the news going, I guess Alex Jones is right. What the hell? Folks, that's not what's important. They're putting cancer viruses in the vaccines. And you go, okay, what's the proof? Thousands of medical reports around the world where they test them. They're adding cancer viruses that aren't even contaminated. It's not even in the chain of manufacturing.